Hi, guys, and welcome to another podcast. This week we have Connor from the community joining us. Welcome, Connor, to the podcast.
Thanks, mate.
So, Connor, why don't you introduce yourself to our listeners? How old are you, where you from, and what's like your sort of current job, life, trading balance like?
Yeah, well, obviously my name's Connor. I'm 31 now. I'm up in Edinburgh. We're just outside Edinburgh. Moved there a few years ago, but I'm a plumbing and heating engineer to trade. I've been doing that since I was 15, so yeah, 16 years now. I've been off the tools for the last couple of years. That's why I kind of wanted to get into something else, some like passive income. Um, it was good at obviously to begin with. Plenty of time in the office to do the trading, but as of late, kind of restructured the business, so I'm kind of out in the tools maybe 60-70% of the time now. So I'm finding it a little bit more difficult to get on the charts. That's why I've kind of had to restructure my learning and trading as well as of late.
Yeah, and I think like that sort of COVID period, like a lot of people either went one or two ways, didn't they? Like
Yeah.
either sat around catching up on Netflix or thinking, oh, actually, I'm going to start something and try and do something. Like I personally did the same. Like I didn't know if I'd going to be working, and that's obviously I was a self-employed plumber as well. Luckily, I managed to have a bit of work and stuff, but I didn't know if you're going to be working. And obviously, when you got mortgage and stuff like that, you kind of needed to have that extra income. And I
It's a
don't
bit
obviously,
security as well, isn't it?
yeah, not just I don't want to be buddy out on the tools and out the rest of my life. My back and my
Yeah.
knees were already gone and stuff. So it's what started off as something that I was interested in that then became more of a hobby, but then become bringing in a bit of an income to then something that then could become your full time job. And I think that is what it is great about it. It can be a bit of a hobby, or it can be something that you can sort of turn around. But I think I've said in the group a few times that if people are going to sort of just treat it like a hobby and jump in and out when they want, they're going to get sort of your hobby
Inconsistency.
results, aren't you? You're not going to get results and stuff. It's only when you start actually treating it properly. And because I have a real passion and stuff for it as well, and I know that you do as well, that you kind of end up just looking at it all the time or reading up on stuff and watching videos on this. And as soon as you start treating it like an actual business, if that's what you want it to be, like it's fine if you want it to be treated like a sort of hobby, then you're only going to get them sort of hobby results. But if you start treating it like a business, then you'll start to get the business results.
I found out quite quickly that that was going to be the case. I started on crypto futures, and I was like, oh, this was great. I was like, I can be kind of sitting in the house where like, these people make me money. If I give them money into futures, they
Yeah.
can put my accounts for me, and I can just watch the money come up. And I don't even know what I think. I don't even want to know how much money I spent on that because I just kept losing and losing. I was like, oh no, surely I'll go with somebody else. They'll be a lot better. And yeah, it never happened. But is that
So
how you
is that where you
started?
first started off then?
Yeah, so I
First thing you
started
done?
off. I tried to get on to the crypto bandwagon, and I was kind of like just randomly buying and selling crypto. And then I came across Binance, which had the futures options on it. And then I kind of just started looking into that. I was like, this looks pretty good. So I liked all the chart analysis. That's kind of what I like about it most. I can kind of just look at it, figure out my own analysis, and kind of put my own spin on things. So I was trying to do that whilst trying to obviously keep the business running. It just
Yeah.
didn't really work because I couldn't put my time into the futures. So then I decided to join a Telegram that can't remember what one it was. It was some random one.
Yeah.
You paid them X amount of money per month, and they ran your the bots onto the futures for you. So ran your
Right.
account, and it kind of basically they sent out these automated signals through the bot, and it connected to Binance, and then it would just put your trade and close your trade for you. But you're lucky if it make I once had like £1,000, I think, as a float, and I reckon you're making 20-30 pence like on a trade, then you'd lose hundreds of pounds when it was a loss.
Yeah.
I've never seen any form of profit, and it just slowly started to dwindle to a point where I put far too much in, and then
Yeah, and I
decided,
think that the majority of people either start off like that or in some sort of like signal group. That's where I started with.
yeah,
I think everyone starts off that way because I feel like everyone sees it on Instagram and social media platforms that people obviously making a lot of money. I can help you out, make you a lot of money. And all these people that are making a lot of money that are trying to say that they can help you out and they can do this and they can do that for you are generally only making money from
from you.
from you, the sign-ups. Like there are a lot of a lot of them are just break-even traders. So, and they're just making their money on obviously you signing up to their broker, and they're getting a little bit of a commission off it, and they have thousands of people, and that's how they're making their money. The
Quick
generally,
money sells, like the when people are trying to sell you quick money and a lot of money quickly
yeah,
and easily, it sells. There's nothing more that will sell quicker than quick money. So that's, I think, if you can advertise as this lavish lifestyle, then people are going to jump into it straight away. And yeah,
yeah,
of course, everybody does. Like I don't know anybody that's got into the trading that's not got into it for the money. Like,
yeah,
of course,
of
it's for
course.
the money. And anybody says that they've not got into trading for money is, well, I don't know what their the kind of opinion is on it. But yeah, of course, everybody gets in for money, and it's just kind of how you then work your way out of that to like a different mindset. To if you enjoy it, then continue doing it. Like, that's just kind of, everybody's got their own path. But I think the money definitely starts it.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing, and I feel like it, they've done it at the right time as well. Like I say, like when the country's on its knees, everyone needs money. Everyone's got some sort of time to be scrolling through social media.
Yeah.
It just all happened at that time where, like I say, where people are desperate basically, so they're doing that sort of thing. And I feel like if you come into this being desperate and you're trying to cut corners and you're trying to make money overnight, it just doesn't work. And I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of people learn that the hard way, and I feel like you probably have to go on that journey at the start to
Yeah,
actually initial, because it's not. And then once you've been through that, then that's when you start thinking, right, actually, like why don't I start looking into this properly, and then that's when your journey really starts.
you learn from your mistakes. Like I said, if you put money into it, and if it's not like gambling. Like, I've never been a gambler, but I always kind of looked into it enough to see, well, obviously there is some form of profit that can be made here. So that's why I kind of invested into it. And then the more I invested myself and learning into it opposed to money, is the more I learned from it, and the more profit I eventually end up coming out with.
Yeah,
Is that how you started? You started during COVID then?
yeah. So during COVID times, like I say, I didn't ever be working, didn't ever be able to go in and out of people's houses, and
Yeah, true.
people didn't obviously was worried about spending any money, and there was no shops open to buy materials, and so it's like I just needed something else really. Yeah.
So
And
you
then
doing
obviously, yeah,
then?
you pick it up on Instagram and stuff, didn't you? But yeah, well, so it wasn't just so yeah. So one aspect was money, and my other aspect is when I actually looked into it, is obviously everyone sells you the dream of you can work 15 minutes a day, half an hour a day. You've only got to
Not
do an
even that.
hour a day, or that sort of dream of that. So I feel like my biggest why was why I started was more time. Like
Yeah, I
I
can
was
relate to
I
that.
was you know yourself that there's just not as much money in the plumbing game as there probably used to be.
No,
People obviously don't want to spend the money. Everyone's sort of cutting down on it's being more competitive. So where you could have taken, I don't know, like say £200 a day, you might be down to sort of 120 a day, for example. So then you're having to maybe do that extra day at the weekend or 2 days at the weekend. So all of a sudden you're working 7 days a week. We've both got kids, so we know that we don't want to be working 7 days a week, all hours of the day, sitting up
absolutely
doing
not.
paperwork every night. So that was probably my biggest one. Even if I could just earn what I was earning, but be able to
Well,
be at
yeah,
home more, do the school
absolutely.
runs, be around more and stuff like that. So that was my biggest one, was more time. I
Well,
wanted
yeah,
the time.
sorry, when I said, like, obviously the biggest thing would be money when you start,
Yeah,
yeah, it is, but I want to be making the same money, if not more, than what I'm doing just now.
yeah, of
But
course.
to have that quality time with my family and my boy's what, not even two now, and I've been doing this for a year, and I kind of just, yeah, when you're working, doing what we do, or what you done, and I'm still currently doing, like, if you're getting up in the morning, 7:30, you're starting work 8 o'clock, you're working right the way through on the tools, you still have the business to run, and that can be sort of like if not the most important part about this industry, is making sure you've got a business to run. Because if you've not got a good business to run, then you're not going to get people coming back to you, or people actually asking you to do the work. So then you're getting home from work, you're getting your dinner, and then you're sitting on the computer for hours, just stupid stuff, admin, paperwork, and you're completely losing all the quality time with your family, because you're only seeing them in the mornings and at nights. People are crab, people are tired. You're not getting
Yeah.
that time during the day. So yeah, no, 100% time. Yeah, time would be a bigger reason that I wanted to
Yeah, I
venture.
feel like time is why you go and look for something
Yeah,
else. And
yeah,
then
absolutely.
and
Yeah,
then and then Forex, and then like the money side of the Forex is why you then get
You stay. That's why
Well, you
you
then
stay.
pick Forex over something else of like, I don't know, like eBay selling or Amazon
Yeah,
reselling, and all them what are like drop shipping and all that sort of stuff.
yeah, I've
That
seen some
maybe
of that
that's why
actually.
you sort of maybe then steer towards Forex is because of what you've seen on social media and what's advertised widely of money,
Yeah,
the
true.
money aspect. But yeah, that was pretty much my why was basically just time, just wanted more time. But then you say that like then what I was doing is it's so hard at the start when you're trying to obviously like you say run a business and stuff to then learn. And where do you start? Like you start off on YouTube and all that sort of stuff, and then you might sign up to I don't know, like a retail trader or whatever it may be, and then you start watching the videos. And then I was up till 1, 2 o'clock every morning. Then I've got to get up at 5 and go. Well, I used to get about 3 hours. I don't know, still don't know how I did it. I used to get up 3 or 4 hours.
I feel like that now.
Yeah, and then obviously then if he's up in the night as well, so it's
That's
like
what I mean.
yeah, it's just I used to barely ever sleep. And I feel like and then you feel like you've cracked one thing, and then you find out it doesn't really work, so then you jump onto the next one, and then you spend all that time again, and then you just seem to end up jumping from group to group trying to find something that fits you, which I don't ever regret because I feel like that was all part of my journey and it's got me to where I need to be now. But I feel like what we've tried to create here is just something that cuts down all that time and
Yeah, no.
is a lot more sort of bite size, and things like that. So that was where you started and stuff. And then where did you go then once? So after you've left like the crypto space and stuff, and you started looking into it yourself, what was your sort of next step? Just you decided that you want to sort of crack on and learn a certain strategy, or did you go through a few different strategies? Or
I kind of I started off with like the first place I was kind of looking was I came across with Smart Money Concepts (SMC).
yeah,
So I went from the crypto futures, and then the group that I was the Telegram group that I was in at that time. I came across on Instagram through another guy in the industry. He started talking about gold, and he started talking about different things on Forex. I was like, okay, well, let's look into that. So then I started looking into Forex, got myself involved with a group similar to what a Telegram was for like-minded people looking to get some passive incomes through crypto, Forex, futures. And yeah, that was the first monthly fee that I and invested into it. And then that group kind of, yeah, it just kind of taught me Smart Money Concepts. I feel like the group was good for the basics and kind of showing me what it was all about and kind of what I could be doing with the stuff I was learning.
yeah,
But then, yeah, like you said, you kind of you take what you can from these groups and try to give as much input as you can. When you get to the point where you're not taking anything from the group anymore, and it's just creating noise in your head, like which I've struggled with, like I've told you before. When I see all these groups posting their trades, I'm like, why did I not get into that? Or
yeah,
they're posting their signals, and I'll try and jump in on what they're doing without giving my own analysis or feedback on it. So I went from that group to another group, which is where I met you. And that was kind of, again, a bit more advanced Smart Money Concepts. And yeah, we kind of just took off from there. But yeah, like I said, I've said to you before, what I do like about obviously your group now, JML, it's you're really active, and it kind of keeps what we're looking at or what I'm looking at on the charts current. So if I'm looking at on the charts and then you come up with your live update, I can then be like, oh well, okay, well I've got this. Why have I got this and you've got something else? And it kind of it's like live updates. It kind of
yeah,
keeps it all current, which really helps. And yeah, it keeps it very basic because I think the more you learn, the more confusing it gets. So
yeah, of course.
if you
Exactly. Like you can definitely overlearn, and
mm,
have too much going on in your charts. I feel like you need to learn what works best for you, have that written down, and then just block out any other noise. If
mm,
someone else is trading, I don't know, like a 5 a.m. candle or something like that, then on that part of the strategy, if it doesn't work for your strategy,
oh,
then
don't mention the 5 a.m. candle. You'll be getting
yeah,
people. I'll be
but
getting
yeah,
messages on that.
I know that some people obviously trade that, and that's absolutely
Yeah.
fine. I don't have anything against anyone. I know people that still obviously just trade trend lines, people that trade EMAs, and if they've got their edge that they stick to and they trade it and then profitable, then fair play. I just feel like you need to cut out the other noise. If you're just
Yeah.
trading a trend line, then you need to take that same thing every time. You don't need to be, oh, this person's just posted this, so I'm going to wait for it to do this, and then you miss your trade, and because then your edge isn't playing out. You don't have an edge over the market anymore.
Well, that's a big thing I took from the book Trading in the Zone.
Yeah,
You find your own edge, and then you trade your edge 20 times. So your edge is also your concept and what you're going to do with it. If it's smart money concept, you stick to that, or you stick to your pattern or whatever. With everything that I've been looking at before, obviously having meeting you, is it was just all a bit confusing and a bit kind of it was open to your own interpretation. But now with having like your set rules and your kind of set pattern and these small things like the smart money trap, I'd never even considered that or even heard about that. I just thought it wasn't ready to come off that one and come off the other one, like another institution candle or another point of interest. So then I would try for the next one, and it just kept on breaking through. So then I would end up putting myself into quite a big drawdown and blowing accounts. So having, like you say, your edge or your concept is definitely, you definitely stick to it. And I've learned that over the last couple of months, and I'm now kind of coming back into a better mindset than I was when I first kind of joined the group. So it has been it's been I wouldn't say it's been a great learning curve, but it's not really. Obviously, I've learned more, but it's kind of put everything that I have learned into perspective.
Yeah.
Everything that I have learned and just focusing on that, opposed to, right, I've learned that, tick the box, let's go into something else. Like, instead of doing that, it's kind of just focusing on the stuff that we know and just mastering the stuff that we already know, opposed to learning a lot of small things.
Yeah, that's it. And like we say about like that sort of entry drill, like I posted this morning about there being hundreds of different entry drills, like different, the algorithm works in different ways, has certain patterns. If you try and learn even 3, 4, 5 of them patterns and you're entering off a different pattern every time, you're not giving that stuff your edge. So just having that one entry drill that plays out, sticking by them rules, even just sticking to one pair, like there is enough opportunity in the market to trade one pair in a week. Like I think we was talking about yesterday with like their funded account, someone that's got a 300 grand account, like you only need to be doing one trade a week, if that, or even so if you get yourself into this mindset now where you've got a smaller account, I know it can be hard because you might not have as much money in there, you might only have like £100 or £1,000 in that account. Trading like 1% and trying to make 5% or in 1 week, it might not look a lot, but if you can stick to that rules early doors, then you can do that on a big account. Because what other people do is they either do really well on the smaller accounts, and then they go to a big account and they see all the money, and then they go £200 up and they close the trade. But again, you're not letting your edge play out.
It's greed as well. Like I found a lot of that with having greed. So I would start like let's just say I had a 50 grand demo account, and I'd do really well with that because like let's just say I'd come into like a 41, I'd take £1,000. I'd be like, oh, this is great demo account. I'm taking £1,000 each time. Then I go, right, okay, let's just try. I'm going to do it. Let's say, for example, I'm going to try out my own live account. Let's just say I 10 grand to spare, which I don't, by the way, but let's just say if I did, I'd put 10 grand in that account, then I'd still be looking for that £1,000. So that's like 10%. So then if it wasn't my £1,000, which 10% is great, I'd only get 400 quid. And for me, I found that difficult because I'd be like, oh no, it's only a couple £100, so I'm just going to leave it running. But I should have just taken that and then bulk that up. So I think, it's for me, I found that difficult, like with the greed side of things. So now instead of focusing on how much money's sitting in the profit, it's the percentage. So if I kind of just try and blank out how much money I made in that trade and say, okay, I've risked 0.5%, but I've made 2%. I've made 2%. I'm absolutely delighted with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything above, obviously breaking even, it's an absolute bonus for me now. So when I'm writing my journals out, I don't put in the actual amount of profit and loss. I just put percentages, and that's making it a lot better for me.
Yeah, or even like if you're only risking, say, like on a bigger account, you're only risking 0.5%, which on like a funded account, if you've got a 300 grand account, a lot of people only risk 0.5% to give themselves that sort of bigger buffer because it's still quite good money and stuff. A lot of people just mark down the risk to reward ratio instead, because if you're looking at thinking the risk to reward, like you might put say 2.5% down on a 1 to 5, but if you're putting down that you've done sort of a 1 to 5 risk to reward ratio, it obviously looks bigger and that looks nicer as well. So you can do it on that sort of aspect as well, because at the end of the day, that trade is still a 1 to 5. It doesn't matter how much you've risked on it or how little you've risked on it, you've still managed to take a 1 to 5 from the market. You've still managed to put something in at 1 and times it by 5, basically, haven't you? So that's still quite a big achievement, really. So so after all that, then obviously we came over to and joined sort of my group and stuff. I think you was one of like the newer people when I first put out the course. I hadn't had it out long, had I? So And obviously we've been editing and changing it and adding lots of extra lessons and that. But do you feel like that's made a massive change then for you? Was it like
Yeah, no, absolutely.
like that final piece of the puzzle?
Yeah, it's not like obviously I'm not just going to blow smoke up your ass because we're on the podcast now, but it generally has been really good. I was always trying to catch every single move on every single pair,
Yeah,
and like also we're talking about greed in that there as well. Coming down, coming into your group, I only started trading EU, just to try and get obviously catch that edge, learn that edge, and then if I could eventually spend more time on the charts, then move to different pairs. What I enjoy about the group is, like I said, the live updates. It's absolutely spot on. It's where you can
yeah,
kind of just relate to everything that's currently going on with the charts. The people in the group just now are really good as well. Everybody's kind of at the same same level, or at least on the same mindset. And just having the basic videos in the actual class itself, like that's my alert just went off.
yeah, same. But yeah, we'll see
So
how
yeah,
that
so
gets on in
your
a bit.
lessons. Sorry.
We'll see how that gets on in a bit.
So I'm just actually going to move that away because it's actually taking my thing away. So I know, like, the lessons that you put up are, I don't want to say basic because that's what makes it some crap, but it's not. They're absolutely spot on, but they're short. They're good. They're like what 10, 15 minutes long. That's what you need. If you're sitting watching an hour long video, that takes up an hour of your time. You can learn what you need to learn within the 8 to 15 minute video as opposed to the 1 hour session.
Yeah, and keeping it simple as well, like you said, like you said, sort of basic and stuff. But it's more like just keeping it simple, using sort of layman's terms and stuff on it, so people actually take it in. Because if you start just banging out all these different labels and names and descriptions and all that, people just forget them and they don't actually remember and they don't really know what they're doing. Then if you just keep things nice and simple, simple labels and everything, and cut out all the labels you don't really need to know. You just need to know why it does it. And a lot of people that work the opposite. A lot of people know the labels, but they don't actually know what they mean.
Yeah.
So like with like on things like Wyckoff, when you've got like your rally and all that sort of stuff, people don't actually know what that means in the Wyckoff. They just know what the labels are. Like if you actually take that all the labels away and break it down that it's a transfer of sells to buyers or buyers to sells, and you're creating liquidity on both sides of the market, enticing early buyers and sellers into the market, wiping that liquidity, and then giving you an entry as the market looks to get rid of it, the last of its sales positions, and transfer them into buyers. Yeah. That's a lot easier to describe to someone, and then for them to look for that pattern in the market than me to start going, oh, you got to mark this AR and you got to mark this ST and this STD, and this might not be an STD yet, or whatever it's called, STD or whatever it's called. This is your spring and but sometimes it might not make a spring. And do you know what I mean? If you try to explain it to you like that, you're just going to forget it. Or it's where if you try to break it down, that it's just the transfer of sales to buyers, and you need to build that liquidity and wait for the sort of early buyers and sellers into the market. People can relate to that more and see it. And I feel like that's half the battle nowadays, that the smart money concept just gets changed with different labels all the way through, and really it's all the same stuff.
People use different terminology, and it's, again, if you use different terminology, it's more noise. Like we're talking about earlier, it's like the more noise you see or the more noise you listen to, the more it confuses you. I think that's the first time I ever actually properly spoke to you. I think it was over Wyckoff, because I just started like trying to learn it, and I remember looking at this, like, I was like an hourly chart, and I was like, oh, that looks exactly like Wyckoff. This is going to be the spring test and it's going to shoot up. And I remember sending it into the group, and you said, well, yeah, that it looks like Wyckoff, but it's not, because that's like a month chart of whatever you're looking at. It's like, it might look like that, but it's not. It's all about the accumulation and distribution. So if you go back to like the smaller time frame and see exactly what it is, it's not. So yeah, I remember you saying that to me, and I was like, oh, right, okay, that kind of makes sense now. Like, I try to stay away from the Wyckoff, like, accumulation distributions just now, because yeah, it's just, you can obviously write everything down onto it, like all the marks, but it just confuses you. You have to make these charts look so busy, and I don't like busy charts at all.
Yeah, and our entry drill that we post up and stuff, it is basically Wyckoff. Yeah, that is the entry drill. It's just like I say, I've just got rid of all the labels. I've explained why each stage of the Wyckoff basically happens, where we build up the liquidity, we're enticing people in. We're obviously wiping that liquidity, transferring the sales to the buyers or the buyers to the sales or whatever. And then we're waiting for obviously the change of character and all the break of structure and all that sort of stuff. And just having that as an entry drill and explaining why it definitely does help a lot of people. I feel like, yeah, like say, a lot of people that have come to this group have just, it's just like they're missing their like final piece. Like they're just saying, oh, that's why, that explain it more, why things happen, rather than just saying this is smart money. It should come off an order block. You should look for some imbalance and a break of structure, and not actually explain why each level should be your POI and picking the right levels, and then just adding in things like liquidity. Like a lot of people do obviously do a little bit of liquidity, like liquidity wipes at levels that are part of Wyckoff, but they don't actually look into the bigger liquidities of like monthlies and weeklies and your sessions and things like that, where the pool of money is actually sitting, of where, because that's what fuels the market to move. But again, you don't just trade liquidity. You need the structure. You need your POI. You need that confirmation. You need all of that put together. It's no good just teaching one thing. And I feel like that's what we kind of tried to put together here.
Well, I never traded liquidity at all until I didn't like, I didn't understand it. Like knowing something and understanding something, I think is totally different. Like, so I knew, like, I'm sitting looking at these the graphs on the wall. Like, you need to also wipe the highs, and that is before you drop or whatever. So that's taking liquidity, but I never understood that.
Yeah, so you was trading it, but you just was never.
I never
knew you were kind of trading it, basically.
Yeah, so I'd always just kind of look at it coming to point interests, like, and I would try and catch the sells or the buys from the point of interest and the institutional candles, opposed to then taking the liquidity pools. So the liquidity pools was like a new concept to me, which is, it's a no-brainer. Like, the way you look at it, that's the way the whole market trades, is the liquidity pools.
Yeah,
it makes complete sense. And the fact that just turning it into, like you said, something simple and making it easy to understand, I don't get confused with it now. Like, just looking at a chart without it being marked up, you can literally just point to all the liquidity pools in that area, and you know where the targets are going to be. So yeah, that's
it. Once you've got your structure, and it's just like you basically just trade from one liquidity pool to the next liquidity pool within that structure, within that bigger structure. And then while you're trading in that structure, you can then have obviously your internal structures and things like that. But if you can just mark out the bigger liquidity pools and the next liquidity pools, wait for that to come to that area, then that's what you need to do.
Exactly.
But yeah, so obviously we're going back to when I said about treating it like a business. And I know that you have been trying to like journal a lot more and trying to treat it like more like a business, because I know a lot of people jump on, mark a load of stuff out, don't do, delete it. Just trying to mark out every day of journaling. How you finding that has helped?
Actually, I'm actually I look forward to it, like, regardless of being a loss, break even, or a win. And that's the first time ever journaling. Like, I've never done it before. I always thought I've not got time to do that, because I'm always chasing every single trade and every single pair. But now I'm but I'm staying with EU and AJ. I've got time to, once that move is made, to then analyze it and see where I went wrong or what I've done right. And so, yeah, so for every trade, I make a new folder. So I put the reason for the trade, I put the outcome of the trade, and then I put
it's good. And then you share it with everyone as well, so it kind of holds you accountable as well.
Absolutely. Well, I've done a couple of them. So I've done 4 trades in total now. So I've had a loss, a break even, and then I took a profit, and then I've taken a loss again today.
Yeah.
Even disappointed in my loss today. Kind of annoyed me, but because I didn't really follow my own rules.
But I feel like that's why I tried to call them like more of like a lesson trade than a losing trade.
Yeah.
Like you say, you're annoyed by it, and the reason you're annoyed by it is because you know where you went wrong. So then it's good. It's a good thing.
Well, the good thing about having the journal is, like, you can literally just go back to, like, the losing trades or the learning trades, as you call them, and you can look at them and say, well, that looks pretty similar to what I've got on the chart just now, and then you can kind of see where you went wrong last time, so you try not to go wrong again this time. But yeah, it's good to be able to look back on your trades to see, well, actually, my plan did work out there, so we know that worked. And then the learning trades, the losing trades, well, that's actually not my plan, so that's why did I take that? And you kind of just make it like a habit that you don't take the trades, like you just become second nature, like you're not going to take that trade because you know subconsciously it's
Yeah,
like that works.
and that's it. And once you like say, if you keep logging all these down, and then in maybe a week's time or even in 2 months' time, you'll go back and say, oh, I've seen that pattern and I entered it and it was wrong.
Yeah.
It went and played like this, or I've seen this pattern and it won last time, and this pattern's done it on 4 or 5 occasions. And that's how I should be entering. And that I think I've said it quite a few times in the group. I've said it on my daily bread videos. I've said it on here. Like just having that half an hour every day of just running over the chart, even if like it's not just your trades that you've taken, it's trades that you've maybe could have entered on, trades that you would have entered on in the past. Look, you're looking for the reason why it didn't play out, and just things like that. It only takes half an hour, especially if you're only picking on one pair. Obviously, I that's what I started doing, and I started doing that about a year ago now, and I found that was I don't actually journal my trades now because I record the daily bread video that I post in the group every day. It's all journaled on there as well. So me doing that and running through and just journal it down is subconsciously all going in your brain anyway. Because I said most people don't want a screenshot and have it in a folder. It's a really good idea, but even just marking it all out, looking at it, and then deleting it all off. If you do that every day, it's still like in your,
it's going to imprint. Yeah,
like obviously
you're going to notice these patterns as well all the time. So as soon as the patterns come into it, you've physically screenshotted that, and maybe not in your own head, but on the computer. So you know that's going to be somewhere. And when you look at these patterns, it's going to be recognizable. It's like advertising, isn't it? It's like you drive past something, you're not going to take the number down, but then you see it again when you're looking for it, and you remember that you've seen it before. So the exact same. It's just imprints.
Yeah, and you see it before it actually plays out. Yeah, so it's not like you see the pattern as it's there and the thing. You actually start to see it playing out in front of you. And I feel like that's what more people need to do of, rather than
I actually enjoy it. Like I generally enjoy sitting down on it because I like the analysis side of it. So being able to sit down and going over my own analysis of my own trades, and then kind of teaching myself my own mistakes, I kind of or what I've done right. I quite enjoy it.
Yeah, and I feel like you can actually go back and back test and pull it in replay mode and all that, but you still never get that sort of live trading, because it is so much different than when you're back testing, like the mentality stuff and stuff on that. So if you are trying to do it while you're forward testing as well, and just recording, even if you're not putting the money on trades and you're just marking out and journaling trades and seeing what you went through for that day's and then you kind of know what the news events was for that day. Sometimes you go back and back test from a year ago or something, and you're like, oh, that was a big move there. And you're like, it could have been news, it could have been anything. So at least if you're going on that day, you're like, right, that's why I knew that the news kicked in then. I knew that it was London Open. I knew it was New York Open, or I knew that there was something going on around then. And you can sort of
relatable as well.
What's that? Sorry?
Sorry, I said it keeps it relatable if you're doing it day to day. Because obviously, if you look at it back a year ago, that's a big move I could have caught. Well, you don't know what happened that day. Like anything could have happened. Whereas on that day, you kind of know what's going on. Like even if you're just kind of reading other people's messages, you kind of know what's happening in the news or whatever. So actually going back to look at it on that day, like you said, it takes 15, 20 minutes, half an hour on one single pair. To do that, it kind of just imprints into your brain how that pair moves, and you'll eventually just keep learning.
Yeah, exactly. And if you add in things like, so obviously I'll post in there the news documents that I read every morning. Again, take me like 5 minutes each document.
Exactly.
Add that in, just marking out your charts from in the morning, even watching the sort of daily bread video, which I try to keep again like down to sort of 15 minutes. Sometimes they're a little bit longer if we've had a busy time, and I try to give a bit of a lesson in it. But just if you just add all that together and you add all that accumulate to 1 hour a day of just put aside for learning and journaling and stuff like that, it's not really a lot out of your day, when if you really want to be serious in this business and sort of earn the money, or eventually it become your full-time job. If you're not doing all that, you're just jumping on trying to look at other people's charts and marking out and stuff, it will just be a hobby, and you will get hobby results.
If I'm honest, I really should read the kind of news and the ING stuff.
Yeah.
I don't like. I'll be completely honest.
I try. That's why I do the daily bread videos, because I try and read them, and anything that I take that everyone should know, I do put in the daily bread videos anyway. But I just feel like reading some of them, sometimes you then learn how the banks are talking and what they're looking at and stuff as well, and you get like a bigger picture. Because obviously, I try and just pick out the bits that we are actually the most important, like I don't know, figures, direction, what they're thinking, But if you actually read in their whole scope, you're actually thinking how the bank works then as well.
No, I want to get into it. Like it's just time for me just now. I'm just trying to find that balance. But if I'm only doing like one pair, I've technically got no excuse. I can quickly read a single page. I
Yeah,
read
that's it.
one.
And you don't need to read every single. I literally just read about the euro and the USD. Sometimes
Yeah.
about the pound, but the ING one's the best one for it. It literally takes 5 minutes, if that. Because
A guy was it something macro. He's quite good as well, isn't he?
yeah, the market macro. Yeah, he
Yeah,
posts up every Friday. I'd always share them in the group as well.
yeah, and I've seen a few of them.
Yeah, Joe from Market Macro. Yeah, he's normally really good. He sort of tries to break things down again, tries to simplify it, put it in more sort of layman's terms of than because the bank documents can be quite hard to read sometimes.
Well, for us, is that what you're trying to
Yeah,
say?
but like I say, I read them every day now, so I'm kind of. But I know that I've shared them with a couple of people in the group, and they're like, "I did not understand a word of that." And then,
That's me probably.
but once you start reading them every day, you kind of get the gist of the terms and stuff that they use.
Yeah.
But yeah, Market Macro definitely sort of sort of tries to make it a bit an easier, digestible read. And he posts up every Friday.
Personally, I think
And
this
that's
is
more of the
what.
macro picture as well. So that's always good because I feel like we sometimes focus a lot on obviously day trading, lower time frames. But if you're reading his documents, he's more macro. So the overall picture, what's going on fundamentally, what's going on technically,
Yeah.
and what's going on with a bigger picture around it. So you can kind of have that bigger picture in mind. Eventually, the sort of direction in that you're going
Where it's going to go, yeah.
and
But
what's coming up.
I've got an issue with that. Like my two losses I've taken in the last 2 weeks on this challenge I'm doing, it's always been due to higher time frame overviews that I've not looked at properly, like structure, and also kind of like again a wee bit of greed because I've been in the office, like I've been out in the tools, I said, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I was quite desperate to get a trade today. Not desperate, but I was eager to get a trade, so I was in the office this morning. So within what an hour, 2 hours of being in the office, I'm already hitting enters on trades, which I really shouldn't be doing. I should be kind of looking at the higher time frame kind of stuff.
Yeah,
That's exactly where I've been wrong twice now. Those is higher time frame.
but yeah, but I think it's so easily done. So I feel like you say, the more and more you're going to do this journaling and stuff like that, the more and more you'll find. What would you say is your favourite pair to trade? I've just got a couple of quick fire questions as to
Some
finish
favourite
this off.
pair. You know what? I trade EU all the time.
Yeah,
Not all the times now. I actually don't like it.
yeah.
I,
Oh, you
I,
used to always trade GU, right? Well, GU and EJ, was it?
no, I was GU all the time, and I still
Yeah,
like GU, and I'm always trying to figure out my own edge on GU, and I've just not got enough time to kind of try to find one. But yeah, I'm trading EU just now as well, but I've got this relationship with EU that it always seems to go against me. But I quite like AJ, if I'm honest. I like how that moves. I quite like that.
yeah.
The workaround strategy. It's just it's quite simple. Again, just follow that 5 minute trend, and I've always done quite well with it. Like all my bigger profits, I had that massive trade about 3-4 weeks ago when it
Yeah, yeah.
I
Well, you
think
kept is it the sell where you kept holding it for ages?
I held
Yeah,
myself like 3 days, and it absolutely it was brilliant. I just
because
had
I
to,
think I missed that sell, but then I caught the buy up and I held it for ages as it come back and retraced it all, didn't it?
and I think with AJ it's very you can kind of just it's very much patterned kind of. So if it's heading like in a downtrend or uptrend, it'll be like that for a while until it then changes. So it's kind of you can kind of get a
Yeah,
bit into it. So I'd probably say AJ is my favorite pair just now.
yeah. No, and that is good. Like we've had some quite good results on that. I feel like
Yeah,
with that strategy as well, because of the timing of it, and it's before Frankfurt and London Open, when we get that liquidity run to sort of target the Asian session, it just works so perfectly.
yeah,
As
it
long as you
does.
don't force it, like because we're up in the mornings and we're watching it sometimes. Obviously, we get a lot of people posting in and stuff. You've just got to stick to the rules. The rules are so simple. If you follow that trend and obviously wait for that POI and stuff, it works out a trend. We see it last week. Was it Tuesday and Friday? There was two good trades on it, and it's like
I think so. Yeah,
there was like
and
8% in a week on
I think
something
that's my
you're doing
profit
two
trade
hours a
last
day
week.
before work. It's
I think that
uh,
was my profit trade from last week. I'm just going to pull that up. What was it? It was
but yeah, that was. I think I had one on Tuesday and Friday, but. And let's say if you can take one trade a week off that AJ strategy and one off EU, you're absolutely laughing. Or even if you just got one from either of them, and you're taking 4 trades a week at 5%, there's 20% a month. That is a very nice return.
I'd take that any day of the week.
Yeah, exactly. So what would you say is your favourite session to trade? So like London, New York, unless you're probably up in Asia.
I'm up all night. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like New York. I feel I was always trying to catch the GU movements. I take it. Sorry, the London movements on GU, because I was quite successful, like middle of last year. I
Yeah,
would always take, so when it, like GU used to take either the Asian high or low, I would then get my entry from there, and I used to do quite well from it. But the more that sounds like I started, yeah, I've been on a bad streak and kind of moving into the EU now. I feel like London, I don't really get a lot of interest from London. I'm not
no.
many courses. I feel like it's kind of London moves up to a certain area for New York to take that liquidity that then
Yeah.
make its move. So I would say definitely New York's my favourite session just now.
Yeah, so going back to what you were saying about the middle of last year, I think like that was around about when we was in the same group together, and I used to post up every day about EU
Yeah.
sweeping the Asian session. I used to have it every morning, and the thing what we was doing then is obviously EU and GU was in a massive downtrend,
Yeah.
obviously because we was having a bit of the financial crisis. So every morning we was pretty much pushing up, taking the Asian session higher, and then just carrying on sinking. So when it's
That's
in that
kind
big, when we're in that big sort of bearish movement, or even in a big bullish movement and stuff, you're following a trend. It works a treat in London. But what we've been getting now is obviously we've been accumulating, we've been going up into sections and stuff. So like say London's sort of giving you that direction for the morning, but not
yeah.
really giving too many entries. And then I've found that New York's been my best session. So probably for the last sort of
So
3 to 4 months, like I've actually been doing better in New York because of, like you say, London sort of pushes to where we want it to be, and then New York gives us that entry. So yeah, I've actually switched. London used to be my favourite. I used to pretty much trade EU till about 10 o'clock, and that would be me done for the day. But now I find that I have to trade. I've been trading New York now instead of really London. London are still obviously about and watching.
Yeah, I think London, like you say, gets your direction. I think there is moves to be made in London, but I think it's a bit riskier than New York's. I think New York always just takes that liquidity that maybe London's left or aiming for, and then kind of moves. I think I was even looking at GU recently, but I think a lot of the time that New York actually retraced like 50% of like London's range, and then before it made its move. So
Yeah,
so I definitely think New York's the better session just now anyway.
just now. That's what I mean. It can all chop and change. That's why when people say, "Oh, I only trade this session and stuff." If that session's not working,
It's
let's
not gonna
say
work.
that London for me, I think I must have caught, maybe I could probably count on my hand the amount of London sessions I've counted in the last sort of 3 to 4 months, is where a lot of my trades have been in New York, is
Yeah.
where probably the 3 to 4 months before that, I could probably count on my hand how many trades I had in New York, and all my trades were coming in London. So you kind of got to chop and change sometimes with the market conditions, even though you're still sticking obviously to your strategies, the
Yeah,
sessions.
yeah.
Um,
Everybody's got their own interpretation of their strategy as well. Like it's if some people can be quite like strict about it and say I'm only trading like New York session, but it's like you said, you have to just kind of see what kind of price action you got in front of you and kind of
yeah,
what macro is going to go on as well.
well,
So
and the thing is, because of obviously we've had a lot of news and stuff at the moment, all that sort of EU's been obviously driven by the data releases that come out in New York. So
yeah,
that's why during London you get that sort of move. Look, they're anticipating what the data release is going to be or what the news is going to be, and then when that data release comes out, we've seen it on
opposite
a
trend.
number of occasions that we actually get that reversal. So what would you say? What's next for you then? Where do you want to sort of get to, and what's like the next sort of steps that you want to put in place, and what's like the end goal really?
Well, the next steps is to actually become profitable again.
Yeah,
That's massive just now because I've not been profitable since the start of winter. So I've spent quite a lot of money on challenges. But I keep thinking that I've got it again. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Then I'll go do another challenge and kind of back to square one. I'm feeling confident this time, even if I take a loss this
well, the
morning.
winter's probably the hardest time to try and do challenges as well. Just take that into
Yeah,
consideration as well. So now we're coming into February. Hopefully things will
yeah.
start to push on.
So I think the current just become profitable and just get my age and just get that kind of like imprinted into my head so I know when to take the trade and when not to take the trade. Kind of just work my mindset again, just making sure that I'm not over trading or trying to jump in too early. And kind of just focus on myself just now and my own trading, try and get rid of all the noise. That's kind of short term. Long term, I'd like to, of course, be profitable to a point where I can kind of take a much bigger step back from the companies that I've got
Yeah,
and kind of, yeah, just let them run themselves. And then I can actually, cause I enjoy trading, I enjoy the
yeah,
analysis. I really, really do. So if I can do that and make a lot of money, then yeah, it's going to be fantastic. And I can kind of, yeah, spend a lot more time with my wee man and my wife. So yeah, long term, yeah, enjoy it and kind of have more time away from work.
Yeah, nice. No, it's been a journey. But I
That's
feel like
it.
everyone needs to go on that journey, and then I feel like everyone's end goal is good, but I feel like you just got to take that one step at a time, like you say.
Yeah.
Try and get profitable again. Try and get that challenge rather than just say, right, I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to go full time. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go do that. Luckily, obviously, we've been in a position probably where, like I know that for me personally, I could take a step back from the plumbing and stuff, and I can still just go. I could go pick up some work tomorrow if I needed to. It's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
You've had to leave a big company, and you'd have to go through a whole interview process again if you wanted to go back. So was quite fortunate um, in that really. So before we wrap things up, is there anything else you'd like to add? Is there anything else you think that what would be like the one bit of advice that you could give like the listeners before they sort of started out trading, or if they're sort of trading now and they want to give up? Is there any sort of advice that you'd sort of give?
Uh, so I've got enough experience to give anybody any advice, I don't think. But if when it comes to like anything in life and like just trading in general, is mindset. Like I'd
Yeah,
seriously focus on your mindset and just try and get rid of all the noise that's happening around you. Just focus on yourself, do what's best for you, not what looks best on a chart or what your profit looks like, so you can send to your mates or put on Instagram or whatever, or on the group, because you've got to win. Like, be honest with yourself.
yeah,
It's all about you. So you're not doing this to impress anybody, or maybe you are, but that might be the wrong reasons to be doing trading or be in this scenario. But work on your mindset, and yeah, just be honest with yourself and everybody else around you. Like, if you need help, then speak to somebody. Like, I know there's a lot of people that I wish I'd came to me before things had happened. They just yeah, wanted to have a quick chat about the smallest things, and being able to vent and explain your situation or how you're feeling, yeah, helps massively. So yeah, if anybody like wanted to have a chat, then yeah, my doors are always open, regardless who you are or what the situation is. And I know you're the same. I know we've had a chat about a few things. So
yeah,
I think when it comes to trading, yeah, just being able to know and read and learn all these things is great, but having a healthy mindset, not like so much a good set, but just a healthy mindset. Just like, I had an issue with, like, when I was working, I was rushing my work to get home to get in the charts. When I was on the charts, I would kind of blank everything out, so I wouldn't talk to my wife, I wouldn't talk to my boy, and I kind of just had to have a sit down and think to myself, you know what, this is actually, it's counterintuitive of what I actually want to gain from this.
yeah.
So I kind of sat down myself, gave myself a good talking to, and realised that yeah, there's no point. The charts are always going to be there. There's no point going to work and rushing to get home to get in the charts. That might not happen. As if you can't get in the charts, don't look at them, because
Yeah, it's that FOMO, isn't it?
oh, it's ridiculous. I never knew what FOMO was until I started trading, and it's
Yeah,
absolutely shocking because you get it and you see everybody on the phone and Discord like posting trades. You're like, shit, I should have got that. I should have been in that. Like, hindsight is dangerous. So yeah, I think just keep in your own head, make sure that you're doing well with that, and you just focus
yeah,
on yourself.
because then next time you could be in that trade, and someone else might not be in it, and do you know what I mean? It
Well,
happens
to
all the
be
time,
honest,
and I feel like we've proven that you only need to be taking that one trade or two trades or whatever. So just don't worry about it. It's just another move in the market.
exactly.
Especially when people say, "Oh, did you catch that move?" And I'm like, "No, it wasn't for me." Well, why wasn't it for you? It was a massive move in the market. Well, there was no entry drill for me. There was no rules. There was no nothing.
Yeah.
Thing. I could have not another 8 times. I could have gotten that thing, and it could have gone the other way.
See, I'm quite apprehensive about posting my winning trades. Like, I actually prefer to post my losing trades than I
Yeah,
do my winning trades, because I know how it feels. Like, if I've actually blown an account that day, and then one of my mates on the Discord just made 12%. I'm like, it makes you feel like shit. You do. You feel
yeah.
terrible. So I sometimes don't like to post it when I do get a winning trade. That is, it's very seldom, but when I do, I'm quite apprehensive about posting it. I'd rather post a losing trade just to make sure that people who are in the same boat know that they're not alone. So
Yeah, well, it's not just that. I feel like if you're posting winning trades, don't just post up a thing saying won this trade.
yeah,
If
yeah, true.
you're posting it up of why you entered the trade, it come off this POI, it took this liquidity,
It's
my
more
entry
learning.
drill was this, da, 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 and you're giving the information. You're giving the information on why there was a good trade there rather than boasting, if you know what I mean. Like,
Posting this, that's all it is. When you put a trade up that you've won,
yeah,
it's like, yeah, fair enough. It's making you feel good. It's feeding your ego. But again, it's maybe making a lot of people feel like crap. But
yeah.
yeah, if that's how you feed your ego, then that's up to yourself. But yeah, I definitely think a wee explanation would help as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so what I try and do, I try and post all my stuff up, win, lose, break even.
Yep.
If I've not entered, if I've missed something, because then, and the only reason I'm doing that is obviously is to, and I try to put as much information on it as can. It's just for learning purposes, really.
Well, that's what I do. I'm really panicky about my charts. Like I like them nice and neat. So even I look back at it, like I kind of just looking at my chart all nice and marked out. It makes me feel good about that as well. So yeah, no, it's having more information to share is better than just giving you results, I think.
No, exactly. And then at least people could say, oh, why they entered it off that, and then they could mark that on their chart, and then they can
Yeah.
mark that into their journal or take a mental note, and then that's when they can start looking for that same pattern. So, right, I won't keep you too much longer. I think that's it, mate. I
Good. Thanks so much for having me.
appreciate you come on. I hope you enjoyed it. Um,
No, I did actually. It was good. It was.
it's a
Yeah, I
good
didn't
chat.
know what to expect because I've not got much experience or I can contribute much to it. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. It was a good chat.
Yeah, like I said to you before, it's just I'm trying to make these so it's more sort of relatable for people. Everyone sort of goes on similar journeys. Some people might watch this and say, "Oh, yeah, I was at that point and I'm ready to give up." So
Yeah.
I can see that you've done this and that. Just trying to make these sort of relatable to people, and hopefully it helps people that way. So, right, thanks very much, mate, and I will catch you soon.